Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast. Thank you so much for checking out another brand new episode. Today's features Andy Ross. Andy is a singer-songwriter, musician, entrepreneur, TV show host. The guy does it all, and talks a lot about his story and some of the songs, the stories behind the songs. And we had a great time hanging out. So hope you enjoy this one. I do want to remind you, as always, Rock Paper Podcast is brought to you by Friendship Brewing Company in Wentzville, Missouri, serving up all your craft beer needs. Over 25 rotating taps over there. Come by and try some of their delicious beverages. They still got some time to check out the seasonal beers they got happening. You can get them in flights or in a 4-pack sampler. There's like a turkey or Thanksgiving themed stuff like pecan pie flavored beer and a yam flavored beer. So check those out, and a lot of different stuff. But of course, all kinds of delicious food, burgers and nachos, flatbread pizzas, and all kinds of weekly specials. Check out the Sidewinder fries. Those are delicious. And for some live music, you can catch Steve Kyle there on Friday, December 23rd. And they will be open Christmas Eve, 12 to 7 if you want to swing by. I think they're doing some specials. Some deals going on, so swing in there and visit them and tell them Shane sent you. You can find their full concert calendar, beer menu, food menu, and much more at friendshipbrewingcompany.com, and hit them up on the socials on Facebook and Instagram. And if you live in the Hannibal, Missouri area, great news. Friendship Brewing Company is coming to you, opening a brand new location in 2023, and I'll tell you all about it soon. More information coming soon, but keep your eyes open. That'll be if you live in the Hannibal, Missouri area. Again, if you need anything from me, you can always find me at rockpaperpodcast.com. Hit me up on the socials. Email me at rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. And I want to say a big thank you to everybody that's continued to support this show. I mean, whether you've been here a long time or this is your first time, thanks for being here with us. And I just want to wish you all happy holidays and a happy new year. I hope this year's been good to you. So thanks for being here with me. And with that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy a brand new episode with Andy Ross.
Podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
Hey, this is Andy Ross, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri, hanging out via Zoom with Andy Ross. Welcome to the show.
Hey, man, happy to be here. Thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to know a little more about you. We literally just met a minute ago, but this was fun about podcasting and the internet. We can link up and get to know a little more about each other. And but being that, I mean, like I did I was telling you, I did a little bit of homework. I listened to the music out there and stuff, but I like to kind of go in and get the story directly from the source, and I feel like it's always kind of fun to hear about you firsthand. So, but I read that you grew up in the Kansas City area, a little outside of Kansas City.
Yeah, I was born and raised in a small town called Chanute, Kansas, down in the southeast corner of Kansas. And at about 14 years old, moved up to Kansas City and lived there and enjoyed that very much until about 14 years ago when I moved here to Nashville.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was kind of cool that, I'm just on the other side of the state in St. Louis, and a little outside I'm like about 40 miles west of St. Louis.
Yeah.
So it was cool to hear.
When I fly to Kansas City often. We still have part of our business there and a lot of family, of course, and my kids. So I'm back there a lot. And sometimes when I know I'm going to stay more than 2 or 3 days, I like to drive it because I like to have my Jeep with me. And it doesn't take that long. It's an 8-hour drive and versus dealing with the hassle of the airport. So both ways I go right through St. Louis, to and from. So, and I've even had some great stops for the night there. Drive halfway and enjoy some of your St. Louis culture and nightlife, and move on the next day. So I dig it.
Man. Yeah, it was. I listened to some of the music, and I noticed in one of the early songs you have out there, "Never Gonna Stop." There's a line you say, and you mentioned a lot of cities, but you say St. Louis, they're grooving they're grooving all night long. And I thought that was fun because it's pretty accurate.
That's fantastic. And when you say you looked into some of my stuff, you took a deep dive.
Oh yeah.
If you got all the way to Never Gonna Stop, parties rolling like the mighty Mississippi.
Yeah.
From Memphis down to Mardi Gras.
It's going down and it's never gonna stop. 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 Guitars twang in the Music City. Brass fills the air down in New Orleans. It's going down and it's never gonna stop. It's going down and it's never gonna stop. Austin streets are filled with hippies. Out on Bill, they're rocking like the Kings. It's going down and it's never gonna stop. It's going down and it's never gonna stop. Come a flood or a hurricane, some things will never change. Heart is rolling like the mighty Mississippi, from Memphis down to Mardi Gras. Shine up them boots, come on with me. It's going down, going down. It's never gonna stop. It's going down and 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 it's never gonna stop. Blues cry out in the Windy City. Soothes your soul like a southern gospel song. Going down and it's never gonna stop. It's going down and it's never gonna stop. Motown girls are wild and pretty. In St. Louis they're grooving all night long. It's going down and it's never gonna stop. It's going down and it's never gonna stop. As long as there's still a beat, there's always gonna be. Heart is rolling like the mighty Mississippi, from Memphis down to Mardi Gras. Shine up them boots, come on with me. It's going down, going down. It's never gonna stop.
what we did in that song, we hit a lot of cities like, we talk about, the Kings rocking, down on Bill. Well, that's Memphis, right? The Kings, Elvis, right? We hit the Chicago and the gospel city. I mean, we hit it all in that song. That's great. Congrats! Did a nice deep dive there.
Yeah. Well, I used to work at a little bar downtown called Broadway Oyster Bar, and it was always one of my absolute favorite spots to hang out and watch a show and eat dinner and everything. It's music and food is amazing down there. But I worked. We were a 3 a.m. bar down there, so you're talking about grooving all night. Like we were.
Yeah.
There was a lot of nights I wouldn't get out of there till 4 or later, and then a lot of late nights hanging out down there working.
You didn't close till 3. The after party wasn't over till 5.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, I guess. So, do you have a favorite spot or anything that you like to hit when you're coming through St. Louis, or?
You got a beautiful downtown area. There's a lot of great bars. The food, as you mentioned, is fantastic. I've got some friends there that have hauled me around. Great place. No matter who you're a fan of, to go to a baseball game.
Yeah.
No matter who your team is, and it's one of our country's great music cities too. I mean, the history of the music coming out of St. Louis, is impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, and I've been doing this show for a while, and I talked to a lot of my friends around town, and that's really the gist of it, man. I feel like St. Louis right now, I mean, we have a long history of great talent, but as far as what's happening today, there's a lot of amazing things happening right now in St. Louis. So I would like to think that we're not far off from hopefully being considered among the conversation with like a Nashville or a Austin or something as some of these great music cities.
Yeah. Well, it's, the history certainly there with the jazz and the blues and all the stuff that was pioneered there. I mean, It's the gateway to the West, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Well, let's take me back a little bit. You mentioned a little bit growing up there, but what was it that brought music into your life? Were you influenced by your parents' records, or what was it that? This is something I want to give a shot.
So I had an interesting childhood with music. Now I'm talking about as a listener before I'm talking about as a player. I'm talking about as a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid. I have an older brother who's 6 years older than me. My sister's right at 5 years older than me. And my father manufactured guitar amps. That was our family business, was manufacturing guitar amps. So my dad, my mom and dad, they were very into tune with the music scene and what was going on. And then the reason I mentioned like having a 6-year-old brother and being, the youngest and that many years removed as the youngest is, when I was, in grade school and my friends were listening to the Partridge Family, in my house was Fleetwood Mac and Bob Seger and the Eagles and Hart. And, we were listening to Allman Brothers. I mean, I was listening to what my parents were listening to and my now teenage brother was listening to, not what my friends were listening to. So, I had an early exposure at a young age to rock and roll, which now we would call classic rock and roll. So I grew up, listening to music maybe, some years ahead of where most people did my age. And I loved it. And I mean, it stuck with me forever. And, just kind of grew from there. I started playing. I told this story the other day, haven't told it in years and years and years and years, but, in school, they have band. And, I thought the guys in band were the band nerds, I didn't realize they were going to be the cool kids later. And there was these free music lessons, right? But my mind, I mean, I'm even going back to middle school, in my mind, I wanted to play rock and roll. I wanted to play what I was listening to in my house. But I knew if I went out for band that I could, I could learn to play because that's where they taught you how to play music, right, in school. But I really didn't. I wanted to play guitar. The band teacher let me play guitar. Now moving into high school, and I really didn't want to do what he wanted me to do, which was, really be a part of the school band and the fight songs and the songs, And I got in trouble a lot in school. I wasn't the best student, and I wasn't, a kid that probably should have been a lot more respectful to teachers, and I was a little ornery. Let's just say that. So my band teacher went to the principal. Now, when you're in high school, you get to take a couple of electives. You can take shop, you can take band, you can take art, and he came to me and he said, "Look, I've talked to Mr. Dillman, and he's going to let you take band twice, 2 electives. And what we're going to do is you're going to play band and do what I tell you to do in band. And then the second time in the day when you take band, you're going to go into that room over there with a guitar and an amp and headphones, and I'm going to help you play some stuff and do some stuff you want to do." And Mr. Roberts, I'll never forget that. I mean, what a great thing he did for me, and what a great thing that the principal did for letting me do it. And I was shocked when I started to learn the stuff I wanted to learn. And I'm like, yeah, but those are the same chords I was playing, in the band stuff. He goes, "Andy, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Everything I'm teaching you applies to everything. You got a distorted amp over here and some headphones, and that chord sounds different than it does when you're playing it over here to the fight song, but it's the same notes, same chords,
Right.
Same theory used throughout everything we're doing." And that blew me away. So again, thank you, Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, I mean, that's I had a very different band experience. My teacher was maybe not the best example. So like, I remember it was the same kind of thing with going through the electives, and he was like, I think I tried out with cornet at the time, and like I was like, I don't know, I'll give that a try. And then said something along the lines like that I'm gonna have to either try really hard or I can go back to gym class. And I was like, all right, well, I'll see you later. And sports was much more of a better route for me at the time, but I do wish I would have stuck with it and learned a little bit more about music. And
yeah, but we even had band in grade school, like in 5th and 6th, maybe it was just 6th or 5th and 6th grade. And I started off on saxophone. It was kind of where I went, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know. So ever since then, I've really never been one to play music. It's just never had that thing calling to tell me to pick up a guitar or do whatever, but I love it though. I'm a huge fan and appreciator. So I think there's also that part of this, there's got to be people to listen to the music too. So, so I kind of feel like maybe that's my calling. That's my role, is just to do this and talk about it.
Well, we, I played in high school, and I think like a lot of people in high school that could play a little bit, had these big dreams. And, out of high school, I kind of set music aside for quite a while. And as I got into my early 20s, I was continuing to follow a passion of mine, which was hunting. I grew up hunting, and specifically had a big passion for bow hunting when, I got into bow hunting. And then, one day I thought, what, I'd like to make my own bow. And I started making my own bows and started selling some bows, and continued to make bows and started selling a reasonable amount of bows. And so I had this little company going, and one thing that was becoming really popular on TV, on the outdoor channel, was hunting television, specifically bow hunting TV, because it was all up close, And when the digital camera came out, it really allowed you to take a small amount of equipment into the field and have someone film. And Lee and Tiffany and Ralph and Vicky and Michael Waddell and David Blanton and the Drury Brothers and the Primos group, and all these great shows were on. And I thought, I would like to get one of these TV personality bow hunter guys to shoot my bow on TV. And I quickly learned that all of these guys that had these popular shows, guys and gals that had these popular shows, they already had contracts and commitments with other bow companies, well-established bow companies. So I got a hold of a guy that did some part-time filming for the Drury Brothers, and I took him on 5 or 6 hunts, and we edited 4 of those hunts together and made a DVD. And we put the DVD in the box with the bow. So every time I shipped a bow, it had a DVD in it. And then the network, the Outdoor Channel, somehow got a hold of the DVD about 4, 5, 6 months after that, and called me up and said, "Hey, how would you like to have your own show on the Outdoor Channel?" So I had my own TV show on the Outdoor Channel all of a sudden called Maximum Archery. And I bow hunted the world on outdoor TV for 10 years, literally hunting 7 months a year. But it was in about year 4 when all these X Games came out and crazy things kids were doing with skateboards and bicycles and motocross. And then the video games were starting to get really entertaining and real lifelike and a lot of action. And I told my cameraman, I said, look, kids today aren't going to want to tune in and watch me on TV, just going, hey, it's Tuesday. The wind's out of the west. We're in Iowa. It doesn't have the action that the other things they're watching and into do. So we changed the name of the TV show from Maximum Archery about year 4 or 5 to Maximum Archery World Tour. And I took all the dates, the species, and where I was hunting, and I put them on the back of a T-shirt, like an old Van Halen concert shirt or Journey concert shirt, with the sold out, like a concert shirt, like, you may remember back when those bands were around.
Oh, yeah.
And we started filming the experience, the travel, the going into bars and playing darts and doing laundries and small towns in between hunting camps and all the trouble we almost got into. And, we just started letting the cameras roll. So it became Maximum Archery World Tour. It was a tour of filming a TV show, not a concert tour, but yet a tour. And we treated it like that. So one day I said to myself, I can play a little, and I assume I can write some songs. We need to write like a theme song for the show. We need an opening song for the show. We need a song for the credits. We need a song going in and out of commercials. We need a song, a campfire song. And I made original music for the show. And I wrote, Blood Trail on a Whitetail, Buck of a Lifetime, Hunt Me Down, Gotta Go Hunting Blues, Portrait of Local Wildlife. And I was writing these hunting songs. And that's when I got back into music. Well, little did I know smartphones and iTunes and these things were around the corner. And once they hit, the music I was making just started going viral. And once that happened, I started getting calls like from national touring artists, big artists, especially in the country music world, because they were hunters, saying, hey, man, we kind of dig what you're doing on the show. And you got some, hey, if you're in Nashville, let's write one. And the next thing I know, I'm starting to write with real songwriters and real musicians. And I wrote a song with the Davison Brothers and their producer, who also produced and handled Little Texas, and Travis Tritt and Jeff Foxworthy produced the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. His name is Doug Grau. He was their producer. And so I wrote this song with the Davison Brothers called Nicky Red. And he said, the Davison Brothers said, why don't you have Doug produce the song in the studio and just, really record this professionally instead of what you've been doing. Let's get a good record on it. And I said, well, Doug, why would he record, he goes, well, if we ask him to do it, he's a hell of a nice guy. And he's our producer, so manager, and he'll do it. So I went in and recorded that with Doug Grau in a real Nashville studio. And the song did real well with iTunes, digital formats, file sharing. And he called me up one day, just kind of out of the blue, and a couple of months later, and said, for what you guys put together and the way we put it out, it's done really well. Why don't you come back to town? Let me put you with some other writers, and let's make a record. And that's how the whole thing started. That's how I got back into music. We recorded You Ain't Seen Crazy Yet, the album. When I say album, doesn't matter if it's a CD or digital. It's an album of music recorded at one time. Because it's not on vinyl, don't mean it's not an album of music. So we recorded Lucky to Be Alive, and we followed it up with Cold Dead Hand, which landed me on Counting Cars, and followed that up with Time to Fight. And now we're recording the 4th album, Lucky to Be Alive.
Nice.
So So that's how it went full circle back to music. It all started, when I was little.
Well, there was another older one that you on those records that I really liked and resonated with, and I think it's a great song and a great example of why I like country music. But you have a song called "Heaven Got a Hellraiser."
Yeah,
and it's just like, this is one of those there's what I like about country music is because of the storytelling. And so, obviously you're in 3 minutes, you get an idea of, the character of this person and everything, hearing the stories to go along with it. And, so I don't know, you care if we share that one? You want to, anything around this song?
I'd love to talk about Heaven Got a Hellraiser. I have to play it, not have to, I'm blessed to play it almost every show I do. And it's probably the one song, I won't say probably, it is the one song that somebody will come up to us and say, hey, I just lost my uncle, just lost my father, just lost my brother.
Yeah.
He really resonates. That song fits him perfectly. Would you please dedicate Heaven Got a Hellraiser to Uncle Bob? And that's probably, without question, that's the song that, I'm not going to say it's the most requested song, but it's the song that someone always pulls me aside and wants me to dedicate it to someone. It's also the song, along with You Ain't Seen Crazy Yet, Outlaw Women and Whiskey, but it's one of those 2 or 3 songs that causes me to get booked to so many biker rallies, like the Bullitt County Bike Fest and those types of things, because it's definitely appeals. The biker crowd loves that song. So it's definitely, one in my top 10 list of songs that make the set list. Yeah. You say there's a line in the second verse where the guy rode in on his bike from California, and I can imagine. There's other stuff, but also up in the back row, everybody turned around to see. He had a motorcycle jacket and a ponytail. He said, "You all don't know me." Yeah. Served James in the jungle back in '72. Yep.
Yeah.
It was standing room only at the New Life Baptist Church. I stepped up to the pulpit to say a few words. Said Brother James was a good man. He worked hard and loved his wife. Lord knows he could raise the devil on any given night. I ain't got no doubt about where he is today. It ain't a day of mourning, it's a time to celebrate. Heaven got a hellraiser, a drinker and a good time chaser. I bet angels on Harleys are waiting at the pearly gates. And if God loves a sinner as much as a saint, then he's shaking hands with the Maker. Heaven got a hellraiser today. The man stood up in the back row. Everybody turned around to see. He had a motorcycle jacket and a ponytail. He said, y'all don't know me, but I served with James in the jungle back in '72. One drunken night out on R&R, we got brothers in arms tattooed. More than one occasion, that crazy fool saved my life. I rode all the way from California just to say goodbye. Heaven got a hellraiser, drinker and a good time chaser. I bet angels on Harleys are waiting at the pearly gates. And if God loves shaking hands with the maker. Heaven got a hellraiser today. Heaven got a hellraiser, drinker and a big time chaser. Bet angels on Harleys, waiting at the pearly gates. God was a sinner as much as a saint. Then he's shaking hands with the maker. Heaven got a hellraiser. Heaven got a hellraiser today.
I grew up with those guys. That's my dad. Like he's big. Had a Harley for a long time, and then he's got himself a big dog chopper stretched out now, and he's
Big dog. That's
yeah.
cool.
And he's but he had the long hair, the jackets and stuff. So these are all like I know exactly these guys that you're singing about in these songs. So so anyway, that's where I connected to it. It's just it's a piece of my life too.
Yeah, it's a cool song.
But you said you're working on a brand new record, and we have, I guess, the current single, and you were pushed out a little while back called All American Heart, and you have a music video on YouTube to go with it, and so let's tell me about the new record. What's going on with this and in All American Heart?
Well, All American Heart. I want to be clear when I set this song up. Nobody deserves more pats on the back and thank yous than the men and women of our armed forces and our first responders. So let's just make that clear. There's no higher praise than for those groups of people that fight for our freedom every day and make this great country what it is, and allow us to do the things that we do, like this podcast, and make music and cook out on Saturdays and God knows whatever else we do, right? So with that being said, I wanted to write a song that aside, there's so many unsung heroes in this country. What if the people who pick up your trash every week didn't? What if the farmers didn't farm? What if, there's so many, the school teachers didn't teach, there's so many other the people that are on the next tier, that deserve a thank you and a high five and a job well done. And I wanted to write a song that pulled on the heartstrings of America, that gave, red-blooded, hardworking, patriotic, hardworking people a shout out. And that's where I came up with the idea to write All American Heart. And I think we nailed it.
Here's to the cornfield farmer, old rig roughnecks too. Nurses on the night shift, drummer on a drum kit, ain't it red, white, and blue, doing their thing, playing their part, living the dream with an all-American heart. Big rig burning up the asphalt, blue collar on the line, small town teachers, Bible Belt preachers, under them stars and stripes, doing their thing, an all-American heart. So here's to everybody putting it all on the line, from state to state, pulling their weight, coming through every time. Yeah, doing their thing, playing their part, living the dream right from the start, with an all-American heart, with an all-American heart. Just living the dream with an all-American heart.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is a fun song, and I like seeing the in the video you playing live with the band. You got a big crowd there, and looks like a fun time there at the. Was that down in Nashville, or did you where'd you film all that at?
That video. We've got a couple other songs that are coming in the spring off the record that we're putting some bigger production behind. We wanted to get something out, and that was the first thing we did to get it off the record, to get it out while we finished the record. And we had the idea to do a video shoot. But I had a bunch of family in town for a wedding. And, when you live in Nashville, you don't necessarily hang out. I mean, you go there, but you don't hang out, 8 nights a week down on Broadway. Yeah. But when you're in town as a tourist, or in town visiting and you've not been here, there's no doubt it's the tourist hotspot place to be. It's where I would take anyone coming to town that hadn't been here. I would, make sure we spent a lot of time down on Lower Broad where all the bars are. So I have all this family and friends in town for this wedding, and they're at Kid Rock's down there, and I go down to hang out with them. And John Stone, that's not even my band in the video. That's John Stone, who plays regularly at Kid Rock's, one of the Nashville's best. And he makes some comment about Andy Ross being in the house. And his son comes up to me and says, you could, Dad wants John's up there playing, but his son comes around and says, Dad wants to know if you'd get up and play with the band. And if you want to do your new single, they know it well enough to, they know it. They've heard it, and they've kind of ran through it, and they know it. And they'll follow you, they're going to hand you a guitar. So they're going to, you can kind of lead it around and get up and play. So what that video is, and that crowd is I'm at Kid Rock's in Nashville on Lower Broad, sitting in with John Stone and his band. And, that's a bunch of my family's footage off their cell phones.
Right.
And we got all that footage and we started editing it together. And we thought, this is a pretty cool video because it looks very impromptu. It doesn't look like we set up to film a professional video. It looks like something that just spontaneously happened. So that's how that happened. But that was Kid Rock's great bar, as there are so many down on Lower Broad. Great music. It was great, great to have family there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, it looked like a good party. It looked like you guys were having a good time. So when can we expect more? Is the record getting close to release, or is this maybe spring or summer or something? What are you thinking?
Yeah. So, the music business has changed a lot. They used to finish a record and then they would start cutting singles off of it. Now, as you're actually recording the record, they call it the waterfall approach, because of everything's digital and streaming. You don't have to finish the record to kick a couple singles off of it while you're in the making process of the album.
Right.
So So we got All American Heart off of it to get something out before the end of the year and out plenty of time before the holidays, because now the holidays season's hit, and every year they re-release my Christmas song called Make Christmas Great Again. So now that's kind of what's trending for me. And then the first of the year, probably not January, but February, we'll get another single off of it. And then as we go into spring, summer, we'll kick another single off of it. But the album will be probably, complete. We're probably still 6 months away from completing it. And it's not because where the album is, we need 6 months. It's just we're on we had a tour schedule, and now we've hit winter and we're not on a tour schedule. But because of the business we've built around the music, we have a completely different trade show schedule, presentations. I mean, I leave for New York Saturday for better part of a week, and we're just not here enough to just say, hey, let's just take 3 weeks and finish this thing. These 3 or 4 weeks we need to finish the record are going to be, a week here, week there. And then the thing's got to get completed, mixed, and and mastered. So, and that takes some time. So we're looking at 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, right on. Well, very cool. You mentioning your Christmas tune, Make Christmas Great Again, now available on all your digital platforms, and you got a nice little lyric video to go with that, also on the socials and YouTube. And but yeah, let's talk about this one being pretty timely, appropriate for the holiday coming up. And but I don't know, it's this was fun for me to listen back to, because again, this is kind of paints a picture of it took me back to growing up as as the young kid. Christmas is way different than for me than today, and especially the holiday itself, but like spending my time with my grandparents and things. We used to do, I think there's a line in there you referenced to it, but like about singing, I forget what song you say, but we used to do a lot of that with we'd all my grandparents, all my cousins, and we'd all sit around and we'd sing hymns and stuff, like all the classics and things. And it was just those are a lot of great memories of those times, those years and stuff. And so and now my family grown so much that we are all like separated. That's the thing that stinks about it. Now all my aunts and uncles are like grandparents or great grandparents now. So all their current kids and grandkids and all. So everybody's like, we're not all under the same roof anymore. It's hard to get us all together. So.
As people grow up and get married too, right? Then they've got spouses, families to go to. Oh, we're going to go to Jill's family side this year, or what have you. But, the song was written. Christmas has just been so commercialized of the true meaning of Christmas, and there's so many great lyrics in that song. But talking about homemade gifts and the way the house would smell and family. Versus Black Friday brawls and people are afraid to say Merry Christmas because they might offend somebody. Mm-hmm. And, I want to see the manger scene on the courthouse lawn. I don't care who it might offend. Dear Santa, make Christmas great again,
Always a family tradition. A couple weeks before Christmas Eve, we take a rope, a saw, and some of Grandma's eggnog, cut down the perfect tree. Sang away in a manger, first Noel, Silent Night. Now they're trying to change everything, and just ain't right. Now they wanna call it winter holiday, but that ain't what it is to me. I'm gonna say Merry Christmas to every soul that I see. I want to see the manger scene on the courthouse lawn. Don't care who it might offend. Dear Santa, make Christmas great again. Well, the kitchen smelled like pecan pie, country ham, cornbread, and pot roast. Family and friends and homemade gifts were the things that mattered most. Now it's all about what's on special, who gets what in Black Friday bras. Goodwill towards men meant something back when. Now the spirit is all but gone. Oh, come on. Now they want to call it winter holiday, but that ain't what it is to me. Gonna say Merry Christmas to every soul that I see. I want to see the manger scene on the courthouse lawn. Don't care who it might offend. Dear Santa, make Christmas great again. A virgin lady had a baby. Gifts were given by 3 wise men. That's the reason for the season, and I pray we'll never forget. Now they want to call it winter holiday. That ain't what it is to me. I'm gonna say Merry Christmas to every soul that I see. I want to see the manger scene on the courthouse lawn. Don't care who it might offend. Dear Santa, make Christmas great again. Dear Santa, make Christmas great again.
So it talks about the true meaning of Christmas, and not just the true meanings from a Bible or Christian standpoint, but also just like you said, what it meant for family to be together. It wasn't so much about the gift, who gets what, and people were together and Christmas caroling and just really enjoying family and family, right? The meaning of Christmas, and then family, and then the food. And then, by the way, there's a couple presents under the tree. That's how it went. Not about the checklist of gifts. Let me get you something off Amazon and I'll Zoom you and say, happy holidays to you. I mean, the whole thing is just kind of gotten out of hand, in my opinion. And I just wanted to pull it back, even if it was only for 3 minutes and 13 seconds on a little record.
Yeah. What do you have a particular favorite Christmas memory for yourself, or a tradition that you like to do with your family, or is there anything like that come to mind?
Yeah, we, of course, the traditions and memories, as you said, as a kid, are completely different because you were the kid and the grandparents and maybe aunts and uncles all spent it together, and parents and everything. So now, as an adult, you have your own. Your own things that you do with the kids. And one of the things that me and Chloe Gracie and Colin Carson like to do is every morning, when I have Christmas morning, we have matching Christmas PJs.
Oh yeah.
And then we do our morning thing, like a Christmas breakfast, and we have some presents and do that kind of thing. Then we always go to a movie, and we go to the movie in the Christmas PJs. So, we've all got our Christmas jammies on. We're sitting there at the movie theater with popcorn and Milk Duds and Junior Mints and Twizzlers. Then we usually, get back to, I have a place in Kansas City as well as where I live here in Nashville. We'd get back there and, then we would start The tradition too, I want to say with adult kids is different than with young kids. My kids are grown up and, 21 and 23 and 25. I've got one still 19. He's not, quite 21, but you might handle Christmas with them might look a little different. The eggnog might be a little different. Let's just say
Sure.
Maybe it was when they were 6 or 7. So you might have a cocktail or two, and you start the Christmas Day. I love the Christmas Day parade. The Thanksgiving Day parade is a big tradition. We always watch the Thanksgiving Day parade, the Macy's parade. So we do that, and then we get on into our Christmas dinner and our night. Usually break out the board games and that kind of thing, and then 10:30 we're eating leftovers and just having a great day.
Yeah, sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I know you said something about the bow hunting and all that, you started the song music, and that all led into you on counting cars. And I thought that was a super interesting part of your story. I've been a big fan of that show for a long time, and Danny and the crew, they all seem like the coolest. And I really love the way they do that show and the way they reveal, and he's always got such a storytelling put into creating those cars and everything, and the emotion that comes with it all also. But you got to build a car. Danny helped build a Second Amendment Corvette for you, and you want to share a little bit about that story?
Danny's just cool. Danny's cool as it gets, and he's the same guy off camera. That's not always the case. More often than not, it's not. But Danny's the same cool guy off camera as he is on camera. Danny's also an unbelievable musician and has a band and tours. He owns a club in Vegas as well called Vamped. He owns a tattoo parlor that I've visited a handful of times. Obviously Counts Customs, and his car show and everything's out of there. But Danny is really a genuine, you see what you get, 24/7 cool guy. And we had a lot of fun, making the show. We spent a lot more time together than just what you saw on TV. We talked about the show when I was out in Vegas, what it would be. And of course we filmed it, and then we filmed a reveal. We hung out at Vamped a little bit. I've been to a couple of his shows. We've played some music together, stayed in touch, and he's in such demand for appearances and things these days. He's just enjoying some really hard work, well-earned success. And one of the highlights of my career too is getting to hang out with Danny and have that car built. At our company now, we take that car to all the trade shows, and it's become the Batmobile of the Second Amendment. It's probably the most photographed item at a trade show, at any show, and people are lined up to take pictures with it. I'm thankful and blessed. A lot of times they want me in the picture with them, and it's a full-time job at the trade show, taking pictures with people in the Corvette. So here it is, a handful of years later since they made it. I probably don't have 300 miles on it. I never drive it because we want to keep it showroom quality, together, so we can put it in the booth and show it off. So to keep it from having any wear and tear and scratches, and I just don't drive it. But one of these days, I keep saying, we're going to retire it from the trade show circuit, and I'm going to start driving it, a little bit in the summer. So it's a lot of fun to drive. It was a lot of fun to be on the show, and they still run reruns. And every time they run reruns, my phone blows up, my social media blows up. So a handful of years later, it's still a very popular episode.
Yeah, very cool. That and I guess you talk about the trade shows. That's with American Rebel, your company,
So yeah, we had a song off the Time to Fight record in 2015 called American Rebel, and through file sharing, iTunes, those types of things, it did really well and kind of went viral there as a patriotic anthem. And we decided in 2015 we'd build a brand around it. and we started making products. Our first product offering was concealed carry products, allowing people to be concealed and safe if they decided that they wanted to carry a firearm outside of the house. We developed a proprietary protection pocket for our coats, backpacks, and jackets. We got into handgun boxes, and then we got into full-size safes, which is our flagship product at the moment. But we are introducing in January our 2A lockers, our American Rebel electric bikes, which we're very excited about, and kind of rounding out the line with some more product offerings. I have to say here, but it's been a long process. 2015, we've been working on it 6-7 years, going on 8. And but as of February of this year, we are now a publicly traded company on NASDAQ. So went from bowhunter TV to playing music to having a song that inspired our brand, and now the CEO of a publicly traded company. So it's all been a nice one blessing after another keeps coming our way and keeps this machine going, and I'm really looking forward to what's next.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's really cool to hear the story because, like, that just seems all very organic. Like you started with as a passion as a hunter, and as doing the TV show, and started making music. Music led to the being a founder and CEO of the company and everything. Just snowballs from there. It just keeps growing.
Tomorrow on Thursday, I'll be in the recording studio working on the title track from the record "Lucky to Be Alive," and rocking the best I can. And on Monday morning, I'll be doing a investor conference in New York. So we'll go from one extreme to the other.
Right. I imagine all that like helps keep it all fresh. The being that you are juggling a lot of different things, like it never gets boring doing any of it because it's always every day is going to be something a little different, right?
Yeah, and the thing that's really great about the whole brand is, like, I don't have to act any different when I'm rocking on stage and being the musician artist guy than I have to be when I'm the CEO of American Rebel, because the brand was formed from the music.
Right.
I'm the same guy. I don't have to be, even though I'm playing two different roles from musician to businessman, I only have to be one person. And in fact, if I try to be too business minded and oriented and present myself too official and too, businessman like, the people I do business with don't like it. They want the same guy. Sure. And I've shown up to meetings, in sleeveless t-shirts and they want me to. That's what they're buying into. That's the organicness and uniqueness of the brand, right. Is that the CEO of American Rebel is an American rebel chasing the American dream. So I get to just be myself, I guess is what I'm saying, which makes it easy to do any of the responsibilities that I have.
Yeah. What, so I was thinking about that, like, obviously, like the fact that it is, been changing and evolving all the time. But, when you were like, that kid in school and, you got to put down, what you wanted to be when you grow up, what did you think you were wanting to route you were going to go?
Yeah. I'd have to think back to that. I did take a class called Career.
Yeah.
And I wrote a report, and I wrote a report on being a farmer.
Yeah.
I did. If you didn't have your mind made up, and it was middle school. I wasn't even high school. And, they had all the different categories and job titles, and you could kind of go through this book. And I don't know, I've been out in the country, and I thought, wow, I'd have my own land. I'd have my own hunting land, and I'd get to work with animals. And I guess when I was 13 years old, I wrote a report on being a farmer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just interesting how, the different forks in the road that lead us to where we are today and stuff. And
Even when I started making bows and I was hunting, we had a little land in Kansas, but we had friends and family that had big farms. Big farms mean big plots of hunting land, typically, and even when I was doing the show and we would go hunt with outfitters, I would think to myself, I'd be in Buffalo County, in Wisconsin, deer hunting. And this outfitter's got all this land. I mean, I don't know, thousands of acres of land in this prime hunting place for whitetail. But how they got the land was generations and generations of farmers. And he just happened to be the next in line, and they still farmed the land. But as a additional revenue source, they took so many hunters. They had all this land and deer population, so they would take so many hunters every hunting season for archery only. They didn't do rifle, but archery. But I remember thinking, wow, that I'd love to own a place like this for the hunting value of it. But how they didn't get it. That wasn't how they got it. They got it from great grandpa or great grandpa working the land and farming and continuing to farm it and hang it, passing it down through generations. So even then I was, really thinking how cool it was to have a lot of land and farm that land. And I have no idea, I have no idea what the business model really looks like for being a farmer. And I'm sure it is so tough in so many ways that I can't even think about. But I just remember it'd be cool to be outside and working your land.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, so you've got to do a lot of neat stuff. Work with some cool people. You mentioned through the music and TV and everything. And what about? I was thinking, like, what would be like a dream? Maybe duet for music or collaboration you would like to see. Whether it's music or your business side. Is there a certain somebody still out there that you'd love to work with?
Yeah, I musically, I get to write with a lot of really cool people. I've gotten to write with Lee Brice, and I write a lot with Porter Howe, Little Texas fame. God bless Texas. Amy's back in Austin. Kick a little, what might have been. I get to write with John McElroy, Mark Sutton from Brother Trouble, Chris Davison from the Davison Brothers, and I could write with other writers. But when you find someone who will co-write with you, and they'll, when people co-write with me, they're co-writing with me to write an Andy Ross song that fits what I do. I'm not a songwriter who's just co-writing and trying to write these songs and then shop them to get cut. I'm writing for a specific reason with a specific idea that fit me and my brand. And I've got a lot of great talented co-writers that help me do that. And they know what the purpose is of the song and where it's gonna end up, which is my record. Not a lot of guys, are willing to do that. And I'm thankful that I have the writers to work with that I do. Business wise, I'll just say that when people today look at American Rebel, because we are doing so well in the safe business and we're so big in the safe business, people look at American Rebel right now and think we're a safe company. And we are a safe company. It's our flagship product right now. But as I mentioned, we've got a lot of other products we're introducing. And the goal for American Rebel, the big picture, what are we looking forward to? The goal for American Rebel has always been to be America's patriotic brand. Someday I want to see American Rebel beer, American Rebel motor oil, American Rebel tools, American Rebel horse tack. And, we won't design it and build it all. We'll design and put some of it out. We'll do acquisitions, but we'll also do licensing. And to sum it up, I want Susie to go up to Mom and say, Mom, what's Dad want for Father's Day? And she says, honey, he wants anything with American Rebel on it. Right. American Rebel beef jerky, America's protein pack. We're building America's patriotic brand, not in one segment. So that's what I'm out doing. That's what I'm out talking about. We want to make everything, if not everything, as much as humanly possible here in the United States. We want to employ as many people here in the United States. We want like-minded, Constitution loving, Second Amendment loving patriots, to, the like-minded people that we have as our customer base. And, we're just working at it every day. And if my music fits in and can help promote the brand, and I'm blessed to get out there and play, while building the company, to me, I don't know that it gets any better than that.
Yeah. Say the day comes along, American Rebel puts out an Andy Ross action figure. What would you like to see maybe as like the 3 accessories to go with your action figure? What would you how would you set it up if you could?
Let's see. Let's go with we'll leave the pretty girl aside. That's a given. That won't be one of the 3 accessories because that's a person.
All right.
But we'll go with a badass hot rod, a really nice gun, and a Bible.
There you go. Do you have is there, as far as that gun and hot rod, do you have a gun of choice? Like, what do you like to, do you have a personal favorite?
Yeah. You got categories, right? You've got handguns, and you've got, you've got carbines, you've got rifle, you got all kinds of different, what's your favorite rifle, your different favorite handgun, and so on. But to get to I think if I had to just pick what's my favorite gun that I own, I love my shotguns.
Yeah.
Although my popularity was in bow hunting and my show was exclusively bow hunting, my first love that I never get tired of is, my over and unders and working with my dog and quail and pheasant, duck, and it's not even about, shooting something to put on the wall or tagging out, or, it's just about being out in the woods. I like to train my own dog. I like to shoot my shotguns. I like to shoot, clay pigeons, and, so I guess if I had my favorite gun, if you walked over there, 40 feet or so to my safe and said, I'm taking every gun out of here but one, I've probably got a favorite, over under shotgun. Sure.
Yeah.
For sentimental reasons and time spent with, and all the above.
Yeah.
Now for protection, I've got a kind of a shorter barrel, legal, but shorter barrel, 12 gauge, more of an attack shotgun pump, and nothing, I don't care what you've got in the house, nothing will make somebody flee your house faster than hearing clink, clink.
Right.
Yeah. So, shotguns are great for home protection too, because you can hit stuff with them.
Yeah. Yeah. My cousin's real big into, doing a lot. He used to do a lot of bow hunting, he does like a lot of duck hunting stuff, and yeah, I don't know. He's real big into that world, and I know he was like doing some stuff. I don't know if he ever got anywhere, but I think he was trying to get to the TV show level kind of thing, or work with some people like that. But I don't know, hopefully, but it's cool to hear your story, and for maybe somebody like him, you're passionate about it, you put yourself out there, and things can happen to, so there's opportunities out there for somebody to start their own show and evolve it into a business and everything else. So
you sure can, if you can, follow your passions and work hard and be as honest as you can and forthright as you can. It takes a team. You can't do it by yourself. It takes a team. And if you're going to be the leader of the team, you have to lead. And, there's not a quarterback out there in the NFL that can win the game by himself. You've got to have receivers, for instance, but receivers are going to run harder if they believe you can get them the ball. The guys who are doing the blocking and tackling, they're going to play harder and get tougher and meaner and do a better job blocking and tackling if they believe you can get the ball down the field and move the chains and running. I mean, every position of the team, works harder, plays harder if they have confidence in the leader. So you got to lead, and you got to lead by example, speed of the leader, speed of the follower. And, you just they got to trust you, and you got to do right by them. And I'm always the front guy on with the microphone. When I'm singing, I was the guy on TV that got to, that was on film. But none of that I could have done. I couldn't have done the bow hunting show without some great sponsors, without my main man, Mike, running camera, and great editor, made us look fantastic. Worked, extra hard to find the little gold nugget clips, and worked really hard to make a good show. And certainly over here at American Rebel, Doug Grau, who was my producer and manager, is the president of American Rebel, does all the blocking and tackling. He does all the filings, all the cues, all the evaluations and things we have to do to stay and be public, and reporting, and all the stuff that's not glamorous but very important, and hard work, and behind the scenes. You got to be really thankful for those people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I think I don't have anything to that level, but I definitely have a bunch of great friends that support this show and everything else, and do those things, and it means the world to somebody getting started in the business at all. They're having those people that believe in you and want to and do those things to make you achieve the great things that you always dreamed you could. So
somebody will just take the time to call you up and say, "Hey man, I listened to the podcast the other day. Great show." Yeah. I mean, it means the world. Keeps you going.
Oh yeah. Well, Andy, this has been super cool. I'm really glad we got to spend some time together today. Again, you can find all things Andy Ross at andyross.com, and the socials, the music's out there. We'll have a new record coming soon, and really, this has been a fun day, man. I'm really glad we got to do this.
Great. Well, thank you. Everything American Rebels at americanrebel.com. Our stock symbol is AREB, and all my socials are at Andy Ross Rebel.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll catch you in St. Louis sometime, maybe on a tour. Hopefully we'll get you on the road soon and playing some music again and everything else. And
fantastic.
It'd be fun to catch up in person.
We'll have a nice tour scheduled this spring and summer. I'm sure St. Louis or surrounding area will be on the path, and I hope you come out. Let us know. Get a hold of Anna at Burning Ground, and we'll make sure we have a good time.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, thank you, Andy. And,
thank you.
You have a great day. Thanks, man.
All right. Appreciate it, buddy.